Hello, my beautiful friends. I hope you guys are doing wonderful. If you have not yet visited my channel, welcome. My name is Darian, and in today's video, guys, I am really excited to do because you guys have been asking me since that last video upload that I posted, when am I going to be posting how to make my study guide? And today is the day I'm going to show you guys how I make my study guide for nursing school. So before we get started and jump into this video, if you're not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, please subscribe down below. Go ahead and like this video, of course, and then I will post my social media accounts down in the description below, just as a way to connect with me throughout the actual week. Alright guys, so I really just want to jump right into this video. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right in. Right guys, so I know this is a little different than what I usually do, but I thought this is what's going to be the most helpful and most beneficial in today's video. I had to throw on my glasses because again, I am blind when I get onto my computer. So just to begin guys, I just wanted to show you my overall screen, which is what you guys are seeing right now. So let's go ahead and get started. Right here where I have my mouse, it is my actual PowerPoint, the PowerPoint that my professor makes and posts, okay? And then right over here, the beginning of a new study guide, okay? So here I just use Microsoft Word, and then on this one, it's in PowerPoint presentations. So, right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and start off with my actual, it's hard because I can't use my hands to talk, and you guys know I always use my hands. So right here where I'm pointing, I just did a little bit of a cheat sheet as to the colors that are gonna be introduced on my study guide. So let's just run by that really quickly. So everything that you see on my study guide in black is directly taken from this PowerPoint right here, or from any PowerPoint, okay? And then anything that is written in orange is important from my actual reading. So any chapters that were ever given to us, that were assigned to us, everything written in orange is directly from the book alone, okay? So this purple right here is both going to be from that in-class PowerPoint or the in-class, lecture from what she'd say, as well as what she would say on recording from her online lectures. So then moving down here, everything that you see in red, I either found very, very important and I'm just like, okay, you really need to hone in on it, or my professor made multiple comments on it, so it must be important. All right, so moving on to the way I actually transfer my information, okay? So going down here, I don't want to make this video too draggy, but I first and foremost just start off with the title, and then I just copy and paste that title directly onto my study guide. I don't know what I meant by that, so let's go ahead and delete that because that just sounds awful. So yes, I copy just the title and the title on here. Going down, I literally copy and paste everything from this PowerPoint, or sometimes I will type it out just to make the information stay a little bit more than the copy and pasting, okay? So as you can see right here, it is directly just boop, copied and then pasted right over here, okay? So then going down throughout the entire study guide, you'll see everything written in black is directly copied and pasted from my PowerPoints alone. So right here, my professor oftentimes includes videos in her PowerPoint. So just to, never lose that actual video, I like to include the links inside of my study guide as well. So I don't have to be, shuffling through multiple PowerPoints that she made. So I like to, just copy and paste this little link right here, or the link is also listed in the description down there, and then I will just put it right here. And as you can see, it says video immune system overview right over here on my actual study guide. Scrolling down, same thing that you guys see here, okay, just literally copied and pasted as I go. Then you see components of the immune system. As you can see, everything is word for word directly from this PowerPoint onto my actual study guide here. And I did find this information written in orange important from my actual book, okay? And then down here is what she said in class, and or what she just made a comment on. Again, that's just what I found important, and that is in my purple writing. I just want to make this also very clear. I'm sorry, I'm just kind of going everywhere right now. Let's go back to the components of the immune system. So typically you will see this right there. Okay. So throughout class, I want to make it very clear that I don't have a study guide made at all. I'm not transferring, from one PowerPoint to my study guide during class. That's not what I do. During class, I'll actually have up just my PowerPoint alone. And it'll literally just look like that. It's just my PowerPoint. And in class, whenever she's talking, I'll just be typing whatever she is talking about. I'll be typing down in the description, or throughout my PowerPoint, you'll also see like red, just like labeled inside. And I'll point it out too when you guys see it. But throughout her actual lectures, I'll literally just like type in red on the actual PowerPoint. And this way I can distinct like, okay, the red writing is her talking, and whatever is in the description is typically her talking too. The reason that I either do it on the screen or the description box is just like personal preference. If I find something like really specific to a certain topic that we're talking about, I'll include it in the actual PowerPoint, like you guys see me typing right here, right? But if it's just, I don't know, like of the actual entire like the entire slide as a whole, then I'll typically do the description. Or if she's just talking really, really fast and I can't keep up on where it goes, or, like what she's talking about, if I'm being honest, I just write in the actual description key. All right, so just going down, we're going down to immunity now. Same concept like I was talking about earlier today. So you guys can see my title up here, immunity, natural immunity, innate immunity, okay? So here it says non-specific, and as I was studying on my actual study guide on this little Word document here, I bolded them and put them in red writing because I knew that, okay, like it was just a concept that I felt was going to be important on the exam. So that's why I use that red bold letters. Like I said, at the actual top of my screen here, I put just red professor made multiple comments on, so it's just important to me. And then right here, like I was just talking about right before this slide, I said sometimes I will include red writing on my actual PowerPoint slide, which is seen right here. This is what she said in class, and I had time to just write it directly where it went. I didn't write it down in the description as if she was talking really quickly and I couldn't keep up. That's when I'd use a description key, or again, if it just was talking about the entire slide as a whole. So here, yep, as you guys can see, I just scooted it right over, and I don't include it in red. I know the colors seem a little like tedious, and this works for me. It could get confusing for you, and if it does get confusing, feel free, change up your colors. Don't do what I do, but this is exactly what I do and how I do it. So I know it's written in red right here, and it only makes sense to transfer it over in red, right? But I like to keep my colors distinct because, say for instance, while this might have not really been too important in actual lecture, I like to only highlight and make the letters red in my study guide when it's really important. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So as you can see, I just transferred it over and changed the color to purple because I didn't find it that important. It was kind of like common sense to me. So that's like the difference, the reasons why I use different colors here. So then right here, you guys see this histamine causes increased gastric secretion, dilation of capillaries, all that fun stuff. This is directly copied and pasted or typed, whichever one I did, from my book alone, okay? Because they will give a lot of chapters to read. I only like taking the important information from those chapters. I did also just want to show you guys the little pictures that I include on my study guide here. So I like to include all of the pictures that she includes inside of her PowerPoints because I am just hands down a visual learner, and pictures, videos just help me learn so much better as opposed to just hearing something, So I make it a point to actually just copy and paste that picture inside of my actual study guide here. So when I post my pictures, I just click here, I go to insert, I do a little text box, and I draw my text box, and then I literally will just like paste a photo just like that inside of my actual study guides, okay? Let me go ahead and delete that, but that's how I do that because I really try to condense and make my study guides as chunky, to say the least, as possible, and I don't like too much length to my study guide. So even though the study guide is pretty lengthy, like it's 60 pages long, that's a lengthy study guide. It could have been a lot longer if I just like put the images down below. And what I mean by that is like if I, right here it's saying 4 stages of immune response, and I just directly pasted the picture like that, it just makes it so much longer. And then now I'm at 61 pages, as you guys can see right here at the bottom of the page count. So I just like it a lot better, making everything as condensed as possible. So that's that. And literally, guys, I feel like it's just the same across the board, but I do just really want to emphasize the color changes that I do. So I figured, some of you guys would find that color change helpful as well, especially because your professors often say, guys, I'm going to, you guys could be tested on anything that I say in class, even if it's just the slightest thing that I say. So in that mannerism, I like to write down and differentiate exactly what my professor says. So that way, like I know what to focus on or what she was talking about in class a little bit more so than the information she didn't really talk about too much. So just going down again, copied and pasted all of my antibodies, my immunoglobulins, going down. You guys can see here, right here, everything in red is transferred over to purple. So I just want to go ahead and scroll down my actual study guide. All right, guys. So another thing that I do is, as you guys can see, it's copied and pasted. We see that in black here. I do just want to do like a little bit of a disclaimer. If there is honest mistakes in these study guides, I'm not perfect. I'm sorry. If you guys catch something as I'm scrolling down, just know that my colors are supposed to mean something, and they do. I just made a little slight mistake on it. But right here, as you guys can see, I have all of like my information directly copied and pasted onto this slide alone. However, you guys see this little YouTube link right there. This YouTube link. Okay, I'll highlight that just so you guys can see it. So that YouTube link right there, there's no YouTube links here, right? However, you go on to the next slide, there is a YouTube link right here. So this video is this video right here. And the reason why I didn't make a new little section, like I could have completely went like this, right? I could have went on my study guide and said stem cell research. Okay. So I could have strictly, just did this. But again, like I said before, I don't like my study guide to be longer than it needs to be. So if I'm talking about stem cells up here, the part that I highlighted right here, why include 2 more lines? That's really unnecessary to my study guide itself. So that's just the reason why I did that. I just wanted to point that out to you guys because, some people might say like, oh, you missed a slide. Well, I didn't miss it. The link is there just in a different section. So literally the study guide is just what works for you. I just wanted to show you guys that. Just going down, you guys kind of, get the little lump sum of it. I did just want to move on really quickly to another, this is a good little thing to also mention before I move on to the next little part. So right here that you guys see Prep You Facts. Well, there's no Prep You Facts on my actual PowerPoint. Where are you getting those Prep You Facts? This whole section right here is directly from my book. And it's not orange because this, what you see right here, is the rationales to some of the questions that I answered from my textbook. So we're required to do this system. It's called Prep Use. And in Prep Use, you do a bunch of questions. And within those questions, you guys can see like the rationales. Again, this is just my school and the programs and softwares that we use there. So I include these Prep You Facts because I thought the rationale was very informative. So that's why I include those on there. Again, this isn't just like set in stone. This isn't a black and white study guide. I want to be very clear that you do what you want to do with it, make it your own. But I didn't incorporate any colors on it because it says in the title right here, Prep You Facts. I know where I got that from. So that actually concludes that first little PowerPoint there. Moving on to my next PowerPoint. All right, guys, so moving on to my next one. Again, just like I said, I have the title right here, copied and pasted over here. I do like to highlight my titles because it keeps me organized. Okay. So right here, as you guys can see, it just says HIV Facts. I forgot to say this, but in this slide, we are now on shutdown and COVID-19 has struck. So we are completely online students, okay? So right there, I actually just click on her little audio thing right there.
Counts they have.
So she actually just explains the slide that she's on, and she does an amazing job at explaining it. And then later down her recording, she'll give a little bit more information from it. Up there, I didn't want to do the whole recording because it's long, but that is exactly what I do. Then on our PowerPoints, if it says continued or something like that, like I'll just continue with the bullet points, just like you can see here, without making a new header, because again, we know I don't like my study guides longer than they need to be. All right, guys, so I actually did want to also point this PowerPoint out to you guys because, hey, this actually does seem like something to talk about. All right, so we're talking about our bacterium, okay? And so with this, I had told you guys on the last video that I recorded about my binder tour that I do not post the drugs onto my study guide, okay? But why did I post this drug on there, right? Isn't this an entire drug? Like, why is this copied and pasted onto my study guide here? So the reason why I did that is just because it's not as like heavy in the semester where I need to actually write another page of a drug. Like, I don't need to, grab a separate little sheet of paper and write an entire drug guide. However, you'll see in a moment here when I scroll a little bit more down, you will see it'll say refer to this drug guide. So I'll point that out when we go down more. But I just wanted to tell you guys that if it's like a simple little drug used to treat like a specific, like down here, let's go ahead and go down. Right here, it's talking about the erythromycin. Okay, it's an antibiotic. However, in this block, we didn't touch on like all of these antibiotics in this huge class. She strictly mentioned erythromycin used to treat this Mycobacterium avium complex, this MAC in other words. So that's just the reason why, because this drug is like specific for what we're talking about in class. So if that makes any type of sense, I really hope it does. Again, you see a lot of those red writings now that we're going down our study guide, just because those are going to be more, needing more focus on. Okay, let's just scroll down. I want to show you guys what I mean. So right here where you guys see this refer to medication cheat sheet titled antiretroviral agents. Okay, so let's go ahead and go down to the tab before treatment. Okay, so as you guys can see, this little slide right here is directly this slide right there. Okay, then we go down. All right, so this is where I was talking about on my last binder tour. So you see that there are antiretroviral agents right here where my mouse is pointing and I'm highlighting it, okay? All of this right there. Right over here, I have a little note off to the side. Let's make that big so you guys can see what I mean. It says refer to medication sheet titled antiretroviral agent. From there, I will go into the binder here that I showed you guys a little tour earlier. I'm going to, as I'm studying, I know this is really, really little in the screen, so hopefully you guys can look down and look at me really quickly. This is my actual study guide. This is exactly the study guide that I'm going over with you guys right now, okay? So once I get to this part, refer to medication sheet, I will go in my binder and I will actually go to that sheet, and it's directly titled that just to make it easier on myself. So then I will go and I'll take that drug cheat sheet out of my actual binder, and I'll go more into detail with this when we actually talk about how I study, but I will go and have this study guide right here to whatever page 18, whatever, wherever it is, okay? I'll have it just like that, and then it says referred to, and I have this paper down here, and now I could study on a side-by-side profile with 2 pages at a time. Makes my life a lot easier. But on this drug paper here that I'm showing you guys right now has this slide right here, the next slide, the next slide, the next slide, until all of those drugs are written down. So then we stop at which one? Okay, so then after it says patient with HIV AIDS assessment. Okay, so now that all of my drugs are written down from all of these slides before, now we're gonna go ahead and now we're not talking about drugs anymore. So let's go ahead and continue our actual study guide here. And then as you guys can see, I just continue it right off the bat, just like that. So going down again, our other drugs mentioned, let's see. Okay, right here, perfect. So it says, let's make that bigger so you guys can all see. But after this little last post that I copied and pasted from my PowerPoint to my study guide. The next thing, we start talking about drug therapies. Oh my gosh, great. So when I am to this point in my actual study guide where it says refer to medication sheet titled RA, rheumatoid arthritis drug therapy, I know in my binder that I showed you guys already, I have a spot that says RA drug therapy. So then I will pull the sheet out of my binder. I will have my study guide again, reading off both sheets. It's just easier that way. So I hope you guys are seeing a pattern now that I am showing you guys the way I do it, you know. So again, just I don't include any of the drug therapies, nothing. Nope. And then, yeah, so guys, that basically is all that I have and the way I actually do my study guides. There's really nothing else to mention. That is literally all that I do, just that copy and pasting, all that fun stuff. I didn't want to, go through this entire thing because we would be here all day. So if you have any questions, let me know. I hope that was of use. Let's go ahead and switch off and go back to our good, decent camera. All right, guys, so that actually concludes today's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed it today and really just found it of a use. I am well aware that everyone's study tactics, the way everyone studies is, completely different, but this is actually what works for me and, how I found over the years what best suits my learning style and how I like to organize my actual study guide. And then I did just want to mention really quickly that I'm going to be doing a separate video on how do I actually study from my study guide, because obviously, guys, it is very thorough. It's really, specific inside my study guide. So I just want to make a separate YouTube video on how do I actually sit down, study from my study guide, take notes on it. So in that next video, I will actually have my paper version of my study guide and then just be filming. But today I just wanted to actually take you guys on the computer because that's basically where my study guide starts, is from the computer, Word document, and then I will print it off and actually study from it. All right, guys, so that is all that I have for you guys. I don't really have anything left to say. So just like always, guys, have a beautiful, blessed rest of your day. And I will go ahead